As I said, we came together in the very first couple of meetings. There wasn't anybody with a professional care background. We were all people with either experience as family members of people that needed care, or with a general concern about meeting needs more effectively in the community. So that is something that any organisation that's wanted to go on a similar journey needs to make sure they've got people on with the appropriate skills, because obviously it is something that you do need the professional knowledge of, because at the end of the day the work is potentially very risky. You're dealing with very vulnerable people, and if something goes wrong it could have fatal consequences really. So one of the things we did need to do was get people with a professional background involved, and so we kind of found people through word of sort of local contacts. We also and this was another thing we did to address the community involvement aspect of it, is we held some very well attended consultation meetings within the district. Got a lot of enthusiastic people of different sort of interests and backgrounds. Many people that were hoping that they might, not immediately, but were of an age that they could see that this was something that they might have to use in the future, and obviously had ideas about what they thought would be preferable to them. But we did also meet people with that sort of care background. One person in particular that stayed with us throughout the setting up period, and she also did some work with other people she knew with that background to sort of look at models of care delivery, policies, that sort of thing. The other thing that, again, people that don't have a professional background need to be very, very aware of and start thinking of from the start is the need for registration with the Care Quality Commission. It is illegal to provide social care without being registered with the Care Quality Commission. The challenge we faced in doing that was that the Care Quality Commission operate with a particular model which is quite top down. You have, part of that requirement of registration is that you have to have a registered manager with particular professional qualifications and experience, and I absolutely see the need for that, and also then a nominated individual that is sort of oversees that person. Co-operative, we wanted to keep the structure as flat as possible, so we're having to think about how that would actually work, and this is one of the reasons we've had challenges in recruitment, I think, is then you're getting people often that may have worked in that sort of hierarchical setting, often where the care staff have very little opportunity to use their initiative, absolutely zero flexibility. They're just going from, person A, feeding, medication, dressing, person B, similar thing, person C, and rather than being able to respond to the person as an individual. So we're having to try and think about ways where we could enable all the staff at all levels as professionals to use their skills, to use their initiative, to use their common sense, while being also sure that the services would be of the right standard. So that's something that's still, obviously, as we start delivering care, let's hope that does happen. The other thing that you need to be very aware of is, again, with the Care Quality Commission, they want a lot of paperwork, they want a lot of policies and procedures, and again, you need somebody that actually has that knowledge to be able to sort of put the things down in the way that they need to see, so that they are assured that we're doing things properly. So that's been a bit of a tension, because I'm not personally convinced that hierarchical organisations necessarily provide any more protection for vulnerable people. A lot of the scandals in terms of abuse of people with learning disabilities and other things have happened in conventional organisations with the management hierarchy. It is far more about culture, and it's how you fit that culture in with the regulatory requirements and balancing that. But I think it'll be the current board members that have possibly got a better handle on how that's happening now we're operational. If you do need, you know, if anybody does want more about that. So yeah, and I think that's it's definitely been about getting people involved, and people that, you know, I'm not going to, you know, what you don't need to sort of think is that this was easy. And although our sharing care project is about sharing the learning and providing resources so that, you know, people don't have to reinvent the wheel, it is hard work. I mean, the business plan, Jan put an awful lot of work into doing that business plan. It took a long time. Other people did, you know, immense amounts of work on other things, you know, policies and procedures and yeah, everything really. So it's been a rewarding journey, but it is hard work. Getting funding, we were incredibly lucky with, you know, having worked in and with third sector organisations. I know that is unusual. You know, we're actually quite lucky in basically putting, you know, getting our first applications essentially been successful. As we hope more cooperatives like this are set up, it is going to become more difficult for them, because often funders are interested in innovation. And if you're the first of something, or the first of something in an area, it's going to be a lot easier to get funding, as we did, then, you know, when we hopefully get the 20th one around the country, or the, you know, the third one in Kirklees, or whatever happens. So that might be something we have to think about on an ongoing basis, is how can organisations be supported with some sort of startup funding. And I think that's all I had to say really. But obviously if anyone's got any questions, we'll all be happy to talk. So